Hi, my name is Beth Azor, and I own shopping centers in South Florida. And this is my podcast, I Own a Shopping Center, Now What? So I'm out walking today, and I had some ideas I wanted to share with you. So I apologize in advance for any external noises or my huffing and puffing, LOL. So today what I wanted to talk about was, for those of you who own properties and hire third-party leasing and management companies, and what kind of reporting you should be requiring and how many meetings you should be having with your third-party firms. So at the very least, in the listing agreement, you should be requiring a monthly leasing activity report. I think that is fine to keep you up to date on what the activities are going on your property. And I'll talk more about that later. The other thing that I think is important is that on the activity report, that the leasing agent cites how they found the prospect, i.e. tenant rep broker, canvassing, sign call, email blast, social media DM, whatever it is, so that you can see if they're actively and proactively prospecting for your property. Very important, monthly activity reports. That doesn't mean that you can't have a call during the month, especially if an LOI comes in or they're working on an RFP for a tenant. There should be some conversations during the month other than that formal leasing activity report. I also don't think it's important or necessary for you to go get on a call and go through the activity report. If you have some questions, you can certainly email them back and say, hey, want to jump on a call to talk to you about these 3 prospects on your activity report. But you don't want to bog them down with weekly phone calls, in my opinion. You want them out prospecting. Now, if they're not prospecting, then you have the wrong agent and you need to talk to their boss about maybe moving agents. A couple things about that. One, I think it takes 3 months for an agent to get his arms around a deal and start leasing and getting activity. So don't give up on the agent before 3 months. Now, if the agent's been on the deal for 9 months and you have no activity, it's time to change the agent. If the agent's been on the deal for 2 years and you don't have any activity, it's definitely time to change the agent and maybe the company. Property management. When we were a third-party firm, we would send rent rolls. We would send executive summary, just like a narrative on the property. We would obviously send financial statements, the leasing activity report, any delinquency report and why the tenants were delinquent. We might send lighting. We definitely sent a budget and budget comparables, and we sent HVAC reports, maybe a renewal expiration report, what is happening as far as who's coming up for renewals and what discussions are being had about that. So all of those reports, maybe pictures of tenants' grand openings or any issues. And I think all of that is important for you to have your eyes on the asset through them. Something one of our asset managers used to do, which was frustrating at the time, but I think brilliant, is they would set a visit to come see us and come tour their properties that we managed for them and leased. And, we did a good job year round, certainly. But when the client was coming to town, the owner was coming to town, we put a little extra effort in. So when they showed up, it was pristine. Well, it's very interesting that this particular asset manager would cancel 50% of the time. So basically, he got the result he wanted. The properties were fabulous, and he didn't make the trip. So that's just a little tidbit. But certainly, I think if you own a property and you don't visit it at least once a year, at least once a year. I don't think you're doing your property justice. And when you do visit the property, it would be my advice that you jump in the car. First, you walk the property with the property manager, not his boss, but the actual property manager, and you can include his boss. But you should drive the market with the leasing agents or leasing agent and go through all of the competition, looking at a market study that he's prepared or she's prepared, and then driving through the assets and have that leasing agent explain to you why there's a coming soon sign in the window of the adjacent asset. And that should not be a surprise to you if there was a deal going on in the marketplace and we lost it for some reason. Hopefully you knew about it already. It had to do with rents, TI, maybe exclusives, maybe size, but that's something that it should not come as a surprise if you drive by the next door asset and see a coming soon sign. So those are the things, those are the reports, and those are the activities I would employ if I owned a property in another market and hired third-party firms. Probably would want to see some social media activity on the asset also, but I'd want to walk through, let's say, the anchor and see if the manager of the grocery store recognized our property manager when we walk through, or other tenants. So those are little tidbits that I would do. And I hope this helps. And if you like the podcast, share it, subscribe. If you have any questions, feel free to DM me, and have a great day.